So, Scunthorpe isn't in Yorkshire. It's actually another Lincolnshire town. The last time I visited Lincolnshire on this show was when I journeyed to Barton-upon-Humber, which I actually quite enjoyed. Will Scunthorpe be able to live up to this riverside town? Why am I even travelling to Scunthorpe in the first place, you might be wondering? Well, if you're new round here, maybe this intro will help.
Hi, I'm Stuart Morris. I'm cycling to every large town near me in order of ascending distance and rating them, with the end goal of reaching Flamborough. This is York Review.
So, what is my real-life timeline at the moment? I've just got back from my Land's End to John O'Groats trip, so I still have all the new cycling gear from that, a lot of newfound cycling confidence, but that does put me in a bit of a problem. I'm in York for another 3 weeks, and one of them's a bank holiday, which means I have 7 days I can take off. And in those 7 days, I need to record 5 York Review episodes, which is going to be an intense challenge. And before I did Land's End to John O'Groats, I had never done back-to-back cycling days before. Never. Is it actually possible for me to do this? Well, I can knock out Scunthorpe today, and that's going to be a step in the right direction. But even after that, it's not looking pretty. So I'm going to try and do 3 episodes back-to-back. I'm going to try and do Scunthorpe Saturday, Huddersfield Sunday, and Headon Monday. So, wish me luck. I'm going to need it.
I wasted no time and set off southwards at the break of dawn, along with some others.
Oh, looks like this is going to be one of those 3 balloon days. Whatever that means.
Turns out I decided to set off during York's Balloon Fiesta, which had a far greater turnout than you'd expect.
Okay. Now it's getting silly.
There must have been dozens of inflation spots around York, but I tore myself away and rode on to Selby.
Factory's coming up. I have so much footage of this factory.
For Scunthorpe, it's easier to go round the Humber than over it, and instead I cycled over the River Aire. Eventually I passed through Thorne, a quaint market town sat near the border of the South Yorkshire county. And then, in a move which will only confuse the casual York Review watcher, I left Yorkshire behind and journeyed into Lincolnshire.
Goodbye, Yorkshire.
Not long after passing the border, I found myself cycling over the exciting Kidby Bridge over the River Trent, complete with a sub-bridge for cyclists.
Welcome to a town which is very nearly Guinness.
I was close to Scunthorpe now, but my final push was fraught with danger.
I was following a lovely cycle path into the town centre, but it seems to have deteriorated a bit. It's now a gauntlet of nettles reaching out to grab me. Ugh. Ah! Oh God, why did I choose today to wear a t-shirt and shorts? I'm such a wuss. Okay.
After I broke free from the stabby gauntlet, I was finally able to push on to Scunthorpe's town centre. Scunthorpe is Lincolnshire's 3rd most populated region, following Lincoln and Grimsby. It's perhaps best known for the hidden word in the town's name: Thor, the Norse god of lightning. And much like Thor, the residents of Scunthorpe are no strangers to hammers, as the town is famous for being an industrial steel-producing hotspot.
What happened in 1996?
With the clock steadily approaching lunchtime, I wandered into one of Scunthorpe's many restaurants.
Today's lunch is in a charming little Greek restaurant called the Greek Kitchen. You spoiled for choice on the high street, but I went to hate it because I've never actually had food in a Greek restaurant before. I've gone with the moussaka. Very happy with this. The high street at Scunthorpe is surprisingly long. It goes on for much further than I thought it would. Looks like someone's a fan of York Review. It looks like a statue of me and the Yorkshireman. Since the mid-19th century, Scunthorpe has got most of its money from the steel industry. It was definitely the biggest industry in the area right up until it closed in 2019, which is fairly recently actually.
British Steel did go insolvent in 2019, but it was bought by a Chinese company shortly after and has been running ever since. But the future of steel production is still uncertain. Plans to modernise the blast furnaces into less polluting arc furnaces could still put many residents out of work. It is a difficult issue, certainly too nuanced to be solved by a man in a bright yellow climbing helmet.
So it turns out it's not a tribute to York Review with a cyclist and a Yorkshireman. I'm really so impressed with the size of the high street here in Scunthorpe. I mean, some of the places you go to on this show are so small. It's like every time you turn a corner, you see another town's high street. But I can only potter around high streets for so long. Next up, we're going to sample some of Scunthorpe's green space. We're going to the biggest park around, Central Park.
My journey to the park was cut short when I came across some unexpected signs with a cryptic message.
Been distracted on my way to the Central Park. Some sort of event happening at the museum, which I can't help but investigate.
I was even lucky enough to come across some folk singers, so I lurked at the back of the tent and filmed them like a creep.
My father is the king of the gypsy parties. My mother, she learned something more to do. They put a pack upon my back, they all did wish me well. So I said, oh, come on.
I also took the opportunity to snoop round the museum itself, which turned out to be much bigger than I was expecting.
So Lincolnshire had the iron, but Yorkshire had the coal. So they had to bring the coal over here to combine with the iron ore in order to make the steel industry, which was thriving here for a very long time.
For you have got riches and you houses and you land, and all those dirty beggars you must put them to one side. For I'm a little gypsy girl that is to be your bride.
Oh, I would love to know about the bylaws of nuisance. So I guess it's quite lucky that I just did Barnsley, so I know about all the coal industry in Yorkshire. Both industries had problems. Barnsley, of course, had the great coal disaster. When you're working with steel, you can have the blast furnaces explode, which happened at least once in 1975.
Once I'd had my fill of mining museums and folk songs with questionable lyrics, I made yet another attempt to reach Central Park.
This is my second distraction on the way to Central Park. I've just discovered the Pods, which is only the coolest leisure centre I've ever seen. It has that massive glass dome behind me. It's even surrounded by a moat, which is full of fish.
Luckily, the pods sit on the edge of the park, and I soon found myself coasting down its long footpaths.
Oh, I finally made it. This is Central Park. Pretty big. You need a bike to sort of cover any appreciable distance on it.
The park was opened during 1951's Festival of Britain, in part to celebrate the end of World War II. Today, the park still hosts events, including an annual 10K, which comes with a free mocktail and cookie. I mean, it's worth it just for that.
This fountain is the focal point of the Central Park. It's really nice. It's probably one of the nicest fountains I've seen on this show. I'm not going to try and jump through it though. I've learnt my lessons from last time. Steel is such a big part of the identity of Scunthorpe that you can't go very far without being reminded of it, especially because of the human toll that the steel industry has had on the town.
I was impressed by what I'd seen so far, but there was one more landmark I wanted to check out which celebrates Scunthorpe's legacy.
The steel industry isn't just about death here in Scunthorpe, there are other things to come out of it, and for some reason related to cycling. You'll notice that there's a lot of cycle infrastructure here in Scunthorpe. In fact, I'm looking at a bridge just there, which is a bridge that's purely made for a cycle path. I mean, imagine going to this much effort just to make one bridge over a road for a cycle path, and on the other side there is a second bridge. You can see it. It's crazy. But perhaps the greatest steel cycling story is commemorated right here at what they call Portrait Bench. So, who have we got here then? Well, first up we have my man, Jack Tye, or Tiggy, who was a businessman who won some international cycling competitions and kept cycling until he was 74, which is pretty impressive. Until you remember that the Helmsley man was 79 and is a better cyclist than I am. Next up we have Liz Smith, who wasn't a cyclist but she was an actress, and she starred in The Royal Family, The Vicar of Dibley, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and a few other things, and she's from the area as well, so commemorate her too. And finally we have this guy, Albert Lowell White, who is my personal favourite. While still working at the steelworks, he trained to become an Olympic class cyclist and even won the silver medal in the 1920 Olympic Games. Now, Lowell had really captured the heart of the Scunthorpe people, so much so that just a few years ago they actually made a community opera about him, which they performed in Scunthorpe. Speaking of which, I think I might be up.
Better than this, I've not seen it, I've never seen it. If there's anything better than this, let me tell ya, I don't know what it is. Pedals turn like the world turns, wheels spin like time is spinning. There is no end, no beginning, and I'm reeling, this feeling's like nothing else, and I higher than me. Let me tell ya, I don't know who they are. Let me tell ya, they're not higher than this. They're not flying like this.
Scunthorpe actually turned out really nice. The town centre was absolutely massive for a town like this. It had a lovely museum in it. It even has a nice little bit of history splattered in here and there. Central Park was nice and big. I really liked the fountain. All in all, Scunthorpe is quite a nice place. I would probably have given it a Yorks, but the museum was so good, I think I'm going to bump it up a bracket, and I'm going to give Scunthorpe a Yorks out of Yorkshire.
Yorkshireman, are you out here? Yorkshireman, I have something to tell you. Where are you? All right, fine. Be like that. You're not going to get rid of me that easy.